I'm like, and just like with my mouth hanging open, that's always a good way to start a video, don't you think? Or a live. Just show everybody just no. So, yeah. Crazy, 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 crazy. Yeah. So let's get to it. Let's get to this. And let's get to this live. So give it a few seconds, minutes, whatever to bring people in. All right. Do 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 do. I'm live. I am live. Yes, live.
No. Why you do that, bro?
There we go. Okay. Said somebody's here. I don't know who's here, but somebody is, but that's fine. I don't know who it is. I can't see them right now. So let me see. Okay. Let's see if I do. Hello. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Who's there? Anybody there? Hello, hello. It's me. It's Candace. Oh, hello. People are there. Ah. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Welcome. What a week, man. What a freaking week. Look at ambulances going by, sirens are going by. It has been, yeah, I know. It's just like maybe I need more makeup. You know, pinch the cheeks. Oh, I know. Put on some flashy lippy. There you go. I got the flashy lippy on. There we go. No, got up early to take my grandson to school, and then he's not going to school. It's like I could have slept in. I've been enjoying to sleep in. Insert cut the voice, so I came in. Instagram's cutting the voice, so I came in here. Yeah, they probably cut. What a week, what a year, what a year. Yes, Mary. It has, well, it's only March 13th. Happy Friday the 13th, second one of the year. Whoa. And we have Mars conjuncting the North Node. What possibly could happen? I'm calling it. There's something crazy is going to happen. I don't know when. Are the Oscars today or were they yesterday? I don't even know when the Oscars are. But I just feel there's something that's going to happen there. Something. I don't know. There's going to be something crazy, something nutters, right? And well, that's Candace because we love the crazy. So we're calm in the crazy. It's when it's calm we go crazy. It's like it's too calm here. What's going on? You know, this is the energy that the transformation. And I feel like this weekend is really going to be transformational. I've been going a lot down some rabbit holes. What else is new? Um, and just listening on different perspectives of what is happening. And it's quite interesting because it's so diverse on everything. And one of the ones that I found very, very interesting was a take on, and I can see it within the energies, is especially about the United States, is wanting to make their own policies. They're really wanting to separate from um, the imperial meaning, Britain, the UK, right? Oh, it's tonight. So yeah, so it's tonight. Um, and really wanting to separate from that and making making their own policies, making it their own way. Now, when anybody's trying to break away from something or an institution or a way of doing something that has been done for a few hundred years or more, people don't like it because you're going against the norm, right? Whether you like the way they're doing it or whether you don't like the way they're doing it, you just don't like that they're breaking away from your idea, your identity, your way of thinking. And when that happens, that causes issues, it causes problems. You're changing the narrative, you're changing what is to be expected of you. Now, there is a president, whether you like him or not. It's he's not the typical one. And then of course we got one that is, very pro Britain, right? I mean, and these guys, it's funny when you look at it, they're on the outskirts and the United States aren't letting them in. So it's like all these guys want to come into the party, but they're not allowed into the party. So there's these changes, this energy that's changing, that and a narrative that is changing, that is not allowing people in that want to be in, or people in that they thought they were the be all end all, right? And do you think if the final is trying to get um Alberta? Alberta's funny. Okay, that's another topic. Alberta's all, I mean, we just had from what Treaty 6 tried, one of the natives go to talk to the king. Like, what the fuck? Like, excuse me. You I laughed when I saw that. I laughed when I saw it because I'm like, okay, you're complaining of colonization and you hear this something wants to be give you your independence, giving freedom, giving your sovereignty, yet you go back to the monarch that came in, that colonized, conquered this land. You know? And this is the whole thing. This is like, what? Like, it made no sense. And just, when you see all of them standing behind men shit, clapping, yes, this is what we're for. Like, what are you for? You're not for your independence, you're not for your sovereignty, you're not for standing up. And that's where, when you get Mars conjuncting North Node, this is about breaking away from old ideas, old aspects. This is about wanting to step above, step forward, step beyond, right? And especially in a spiritual sense, when this is a spiritual warrior coming in, right? And the spiritual warrior is coming in. The spiritual warrior is wanting to be, not only to be heard, but to see it in a new way. When you have the C9 bill, especially in Canada here, wanting to pass and dictate your religious rights, or when you could read your Bible or your Quran or your your solitary witch book, they want to dictate when and where you can do that. This this is, the changes. This is, where the shifts are coming in. And when something or someone is wanting to suppress, control, and this, especially in this energy, this is where things can be very explosive. This is where things can get out of hand. And that's where we're at. We're at a place where things are going to start getting really out of hand. This is where we're going to see if they are going to do something in California. I mean, it's all over, like, oh, is this, probably trying to sway you, but I think there's something, yeah. uh, yeah, they have to have like a 9/11, something there that needs to draw the people in and draw everybody in. Um, and by the 15th they're in, and by April 15th there's no going back. So we're in this kind of area where the energies are getting extremely tight. Let's say very tight. Things are getting really squished in there, and the squishiness is getting to a point where I feel I'm just going to grab my notes here because I could go off on a tangent, which I probably will end up doing anyways, but just so I can get some of my points here. Get some of my points. So, with that conjunction, this is where what I call the ego trap and the spiritual confidence. So, there's going to be a lot of egos coming out. A lot of people, this is the way we want to do it. This is the way we want to do this, the way we've always done it. We got to do it this way. And so many things go through my mind when I hear that, where this is the way we've always done it. There has been, an example. Let's just do an example of what I know of a change that happened. So in 1963, um, in the Catholic Church, there came, some new ways of doing things. One of the things was that all of a sudden the masses didn't have to be done in Latin. The priest actually would face the congregation. He could do absolution over the whole congregation, not just in a one-on-one. So a lot of these things came out, and a lot of people didn't like them. They don't like the way it's done. They wanted to go back to the old ways. They found more power in the old ways, but things were changing. This is also, where Youth Day would come in, especially, or where they'd have these youth rallies that started all over the world, and conjugating a lot of young youth to come together. At first, people didn't like that. The thing is that they didn't, it's basically had the whole idea of, why are we creating this thing for the youth, and that um because they'd rather be seen and not heard, kind of thing. So a lot was starting to come out and change. That's just an example I'm giving you, because things like that are radically going to start changing in our world, like more so than what they have. And some of them people are going to like, some of them people are not going to like. And right now I feel like there's a lot that's going to be coming in, especially when it comes to the ego traps. They're not going to like. And this second Friday the 13th in a row. Now, normally Friday the 13th is, going on, that is about superstition, black cats, ladders, and all that. But astrologically, today is actually far more interesting than folklore, because today, with this conjunction, and this one's a weird one, I actually haven't seen a lot of astrologers talk about this specific configuration, which I find very surprising. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's very psychologically revealing. Is that semi square to Chiron and Eris, which means there's a subtle irritation in the sky. Now, semi squares are they're worse than a square, right? Um they're very odd. They're very just very I'm going to say tight. It's not full on explosion, but like when something just it's an itch your soul a little bit. So it's almost like an itch you can't reach. And there's this part that's coming in, and that's coming into this world, is that people will get irritated, they'll get upset. This is where the ego trap could come in. And the big thing I want to say about today is that we can gain spiritual confidence right now, but be careful about putting that confidence on display, because the ego right now can trap itself without even realizing it. And funny enough, in saying that and having the awards tonight and stuff, how many egos are going to be on display? How many pedos are going there to celebrate themselves, right? And this is where I feel like people are going to they're going to trip up. Things are going to get a little bit unhinged. I feel like there is uh, a change that's coming in, and those who want to keep it the way it always has will not like what some of these changes are. And it's going to be a I'm going to say it's going to be a fight in order to keep some of the positive changes that are wanting to come in, because you have to stay on your lane. You have to stay on the path. You have to stay in that light. You have to continue on being that example for, for things as they're unfolding. And Mars on the North Node can make you feel like, all right, I've got it. I know where I'm going. Let's go. But it's happening in Pisces. And Pisces is not about charging forward with a banner and announcing your new identity. Pisces is all about surrender. It's about flow. It's about clearing old energies. And it's a lot of the work happens behind the scenes, not on the stage. And that's where people get upset because they want to see everything. They want to see the whole display. And when things and that's why there was such, when Vatican II came in, people like to have their back, a lot of priests were against coming out to the congregation, coming forward for them to see what they were doing, and having to do the whole mass in English or whatever language it was for that country, right? And because it's like almost they wanted to stay underneath that cloakness, that mystery, that magic, because they felt that gave them maybe more power. And that's what we're finding, is that maybe there's people out there that feel like, if I can keep it this way, I'm going to keep the power. I'm going to keep my power. I'm going to keep this. Now, going back to what's happening, especially with the situation within the United States and Trump, I feel like there's a part where, yeah, we want to keep the power. We want to keep this together. And there's a lot of things that are breaking apart within the states. Um, Somebody asked me, "Will they win?" Oh, that was a diabolical question. Um, it's I gotta know that they're not going to win. The regime is going to buckle down, and it's going to buckle down hard because they want to keep that power. They don't want, they don't want to be exposed or have that, have sort of like have the people um have control kind of thing. They want to keep that control. So it's all about a lot of exposure that's going to be happening, and the changes that are unfolding with this all. And it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie, it's frustrating because with the moon in Capricorn, it's emotionally we want something very Capricornian, the plan, the structure, the timeline, and everything else. But the sky right now is basically saying you don't get the full plan yet. So the full plan is not there yet. So that's where a lot of frustration can come in. But now we might be in the middle of the story. And the middle of the story is the most frustrating part, because you get where you come and you think about everything that you've done, and look at we've come through everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, you're stuck in the desert, you're stuck in a place, or the car breaks down, you're kind of in the middle of the story of something, and it feels frustrating and overwhelming, and you don't really know how to fix it. And this is where the new structuring is being built. Things are happening, but we can't see it all. And some of it we're not going to like. And I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to like a lot of things that are going to be coming down. And a lot of the energies that are going to be unfolding. And that's where you have to really come in and know that, okay, we're only in the middle of things. We're only, just in a part that is still unfolding. We're still in a narrative that the story isn't fully told, or and we got to trust in our high priestess, our own intuition. The high priestess doesn't give you all the information. She still holds that, if you ever look at the high priestess, I think if I got her right here, do I have her here? High priestess, let me see if I can pull her out. There we go. So there's the high priestess, right? Now she has the Torah, right? Now she doesn't unscroll the whole Torah. She doesn't unscroll all the information in there. She holds it. She has, the seeds of wisdom, which is the pomegranate. The pomegranates are the seeds of wisdom. She has the seeds of wisdom that are there, but it's like you got to allow yourself to take bits and pieces at a time, not all of it all at once. And that way it'll help you to form the structure that you are wanting to create. And we got to remember that we just had Saturn Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees Aries. And oh, here's a fun fact. March 17th, we're coming up to 6 years on March 17th. So we're coming into just when they did the lockdowns. That's what we're coming, that's kind of like the energies that we're going through. And I posted a few things up there. Is like Erica Kirk is the new Tom Hanks. And when Hillary Clinton is praising Trump, you know that shit's getting crazy, right? So we have a lot of these transformation and changes that are going on. And in this all that's crazy, the craziness that's unfolding is going to be massive. And in redefining the reality itself, your identity, your direction, and sense of purpose. So, of course, right now we are in a strange zone, and who are we becoming? And the key word is becoming, not announcing. As an individual, as a person within the collective, you got to look at what am I doing? How am I grounding? How am I being present in my day? How am I answering to my highest God, to my divine? This is where you're going to find, as things are going to get louder and crazier, that you're going to find more of the inner peace and understanding. And Venus right now, she's in no man's land. She's in Aries. She's sitting there at 9 degrees, kind of floating in what I call the no man's land energetically. Venus um, is our values, our desires, our relationships, our money, right? And right now, Venus is basically going, I think I know what I want, but I also do I? And that's okay. You don't need to fully understand everything yet for yourself individually. And I think that's also with everything that's happening politically. Not everybody knows exactly where everything's going or how things are unfolding. There's a narrative that they felt that this is a narrative that we've always played. This is a narrative that we've always done. They want to take what's happening to be like Iraq. Iran is not Iraq. Two different types of energy right there. And especially if you're looking at the war. Things are still going on in Ukraine and Russia, right? So the hostility is all around us, but nobody really understands exactly where everything is going to be going. Even when it comes to Canada, Alberta, and when it comes to this, Alberta separating. Somebody posted something about the referendum. The referendum's not asking any direct questions about separation. It has different questions that it's asking for us all at this time. And that is, when we look at it, we'll just, because I know a lot of people on here are from Alberta. So looking at the things that it's asking is about immigration, constitutional reform, and not entirely in president. Alberta has had the reform before and a referendum in 2021 and asked about removing equalization from the Constitution. Also in 2021, there was the daylight savings time referendum. So the mechanism isn't new. There's no direct separation question on there that it's asking for the people. So even with Alberta, it is uncertain in the direction of where it's going and what's unfolding. I don't feel the Canadian Prepper said he is looking at property now. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he came and he's looking at property. I mean, honestly, If out of all the provinces, why the fuck would you want to live anywhere else? No offense to any other province. I mean, God bless you all, but I mean, really, Alberta has a lot more advantages than any other province in Canada. We're the only province that doesn't have provincial sales tax. Our cost of living is slightly less, right? I mean, I've lived in BC. I would love to live in BC, but the cost of living is through the roof. To get a job and get properly paid in BC, good luck, because they call it the sunshine tax. And you know, why live there? I'd leave the country. We don't pay carbon tax here, apparently. Carbon tax is on everything. I don't know. I would have to look into that more. But I mean, the thing is that if you're looking at a place to live that is prospering and everything else, Alberta has it, right? That's why if Alberta actually left and became its own sovereign country, its own sovereign being, it would cripple the rest of Canada because that money would start staying here in the province. It wouldn't be going out to the other provinces or going out to Ottawa. And that's a huge thing, and I think that's what a lot of people are fed up about. I know you always bring Saskatchewan is Saskatchewan. Like, you walk down the street in Alberta, I would say every third or fourth person is from Saskatchewan. They left. Why did they leave? There's not a lot of prospects. It's a place where you don't find is, I the growth, the expansion, right? Um, it does have, it does have definitely the farming and the potash and things like that, definitely. Um, but what you can't, yeah, you can't compare Saskatchewan to Alberta or Alberta to Saskatchewan. And yes, Saskatchewan would like to leave, but the thing is that if they come on Alberta's tail tail feathers, that's fine. That's fine, right? But there's a lot to unpack, a lot to unpack. And nothing against Saskatchewan or Manitoba or any of the other provinces, but when it comes to a province that has a lot to give, it's Alberta, and we have a premier who knows that. She is a politician, so you got to take that into consideration as well. She did cross the floor, and that's how come we have the conservative government that we have right now, and that's why there was a split in the NDP. The NDP to take the fall for everything when the NDP were in, but I mean it's political. It's a political rally, right? Um, but Alberta, I think the more it gets pushed, the more people are getting frustrated, the more there's going to be a pushback. I don't think it's going to be like Quebec. I think people in Alberta have a little bit, the word redneck, comes in where people have that, but there's also where Alberta has a lot of seasoned, I don't know, politicians or something. There's something I just keep on getting that there's a lot of seasoning here, a lot of people who know exactly what it is that they want. People hand in how they vote. Survival always wins. BC has always been a bottleneck. BC is always. My dad used to be president of the Social Credit Party, which is many moons ago, and WAC Bennett and the Bennett family were friends of ours. But as when I was growing up, the thing is sometimes BC thinks they're so far ahead they're behind. they don't really realize what they do have. And when you get the NDP, every time they've come into BC, they thrashed it, they've killed it. The hospitals don't get what the hospitals would like. The hospitals, or the teachers or whatever, because usually it's the teachers and the nurses are NDPers because they believe in that community, the socialism and etc. But sometimes they're the ones who end up losing. And right now, BC is playing a real crazy hand, and the things to do with First Nations. I would have to get into the treaties and stuff because I don't know the full treaties in BC, but most treaties, when they signed the treaties, they surrendered everything. Right? They surrendered everything. And they surrendered everything to become Canadian, to become part of Canada. And surrendering and becoming part of Canada, you become part of that full community, that you're not a separate identity. But what the government actually did is that people still wanted their identity and their sovereignty of who they are, definitely, to do that. So they allowed them, like, to have reservations. Now, not all the land that they were given, and reservations aren't even their land, reservations is reserved land owned by the government. So when they say they want their land back, it's not all their land, because a lot of that land that they are wanting back, especially on the Lower Mainland and in Abbotsford, has been disputed through many different tribes, and that's what they're finding out now. Because one tribe will say, well, we used to own that. Another tribe will say, well, we owned this part and we own that part. That takes apart and that breaks apart what Canada is and what Canada stood for and wanted to become when they were building the nation. Who don't learn from the past. And that's where we're at, and that's partially right now is because the federal government would love that, because if they can start splitting things up, if they can start splitting, and that's what the NDP is trying to do here in Alberta, is trying to split people up and trying to get the First Nations on hand, because the First Nations get money from the NDP and the Liberal government. They're the first ones to hand out money to them for whatever, but not try and fix the problem or fix whatever's going on, and have them own the responsibility of the shit that's happened. I'm sorry, my grandfather was an alcoholic and an asshole to my dad and beat the shit out of him every day. But my dad learned from that and said, I didn't have to take that forward into my family, right? I have to learn from that. I have to grow from that, right? And that's the thing. It's like, how are you growing? How are you learning from that? And not putting it on to the next generation, and blaming, well, it's because of this over here, it's because of that over there, and allowing them just to continue that wound and just put a fucking band-aid over the wound and say, oh, this is my treaty. Fuck your treaties. When they read those treaties at the school, when I go to those school things, I walk out. I do not want to. We are in sovereign. No, fuck that. When you are saying that, that means that you're discrediting all of Canada and us coming together as a nation. And that's what Canada was. We were coming together as a nation, as one nation with Christian values. That's what it was. And what were those Christian values? Were, the values of that were family, unity, helping community, helping those who need help, not just throwing people a piece of meat and saying, here you go, or saying, here, order these drugs from online. We were there to say, no, this is what we're going to hold you accountable for, what the shit that you're doing. Right? We're not going to let you go and puke your guts out downtown. We're going to help you, and we're going to get you a place, and we're going to show you how to have an apartment. How do you clean your toilet? You want to go back to your old ways? Well, you want to go back to your old ways? Okay, let's go back to your old ways. That means as a young man, you are responsible for your family. Get out there and start fucking hunting, fishing, and supplying what you need for your family. Right? You want to go back to the old ways? Okay, let's take you out into the woods and find your way home. You do shit, we're leaving it to Mother Nature to figure your shit out. Now, if Mother Nature wants to take you, she can take you. She doesn't want to. If you survive it, that means Mother Nature is on your side. You want to go back to old ways. You know, and the thing is that you want everything that has been developed, that has been created and everything else. But what are you going to do with it? Do you have the means? Do you have the connections and the netting to keep it all together? No, you don't. No, you don't. Let's go on your bloody reservations. Like, fuck you. I'm sorry. I got a lot of First Nation friends, and I worked for a First Nation company, and I'm just like, who actually is now owned more by white people than they are by First Nations. You know, their CEO is in Nike, is from Nike. Like, whatever. Yeah. But they, you know, the thing is for them to grow and prosper, that's what they had to do. They had to get outside interests. And that's the whole thing, is that if you do want to grow and prosper, you want to get the outside interests. You want to get other people involved so that you can grow and prosper and learn. If you look at going on into the Middle East, if everything, hypothetically, if if the Middle East and the Islamic nations were ones that kept their true values, the true values, let's not get into the other bullshit and the warlords and all that bullshit. If they kept their true values of, yeah, we're going to respect our women, they don't have to wear all the garb that they have to wear, but you know, to look respectable. I'm going to respect my wife, she's going to respect me, and we're going to help everything, and we're going to help to create our families and create the balance that we want to create within our nations, and then hold our true values of what that is. Their values aren't much different when you get down to the nitty gritty of it than that of the Christian values, right? When you want to bring that together, then everybody would be okay. That's fine. Cool. You know, you're not touching 9-year-olds and 13-year-olds, right? You're having respect. You're having respect for that, right? When you start seeing that, then people are going to start saying, okay, yeah, let's live in that harmony. Let's live in that peace. But right now we don't. We don't live in that peace. We don't have that. We have a long ways to go. And this energy is trying to show us, and especially with Mars next to the North Node, it's trying to show us like we can't push forward with this. We got to take a spiritual stance in this all, and come into this with a mindfulness and a respectfulness, so that we can help one another, but not enable people. When my brothers used to play hockey back in Edmonton years ago, you know, there were communities, you know, like the Lions and the Knights of Columbus and different um, communities like that, that they had every year. If you could not afford skates or anything for hockey equipment, they would have a drive where then the people could go in and you could get free skates, free thing, so the kid could go play hockey, could go play soccer, right? And it wasn't so ex- astronomically priced that only certain people can play, right? Or you had to go through a whole bunch of applications, and you can only use the application once, right? So this type of thing of coming back to a community that helps to support one another is important. And I feel that's part of what's growing here. That's pushing people to say, hey, we got to grow this community. We got to grow with one another and allow ourselves to help who needs to be helped. Because right now, way things are going energetically, and things are it's going to get a shit show. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be going without food. There's going to be, you know, and the thing is that it's not that there's not enough food, right? Food banks throw away food all the time. Tons of it. Tons of food, right? And it's amazing how much food is being thrown away. At Canadian Food Store, Superstore, I mean, they used to have their garbage where they threw everything out open, and then they got wind that people would come in the middle of the night and go in there and grab everything from there, and they were worried. This is always the excuse. They're going to return it. They're going to return it. You know that it's less than 0.01% of somebody coming back and returning something. Very rare. Or they're going to get sick and they're going to sue us. Good luck. I don't think people are, I highly doubt it. But people, dumpster diving because they needed food, but they lock it up, and they're just, there's that fear, always that fear of it all. And then of course they get money for it. Their insurance covers them all. And this is where I'm finding that there is enough to go round, but it's going to come to a push and a shove, and people are going to really, you think the food lines are long now. There's going to be bigger food lines. Definitely, there's always going to be people who can afford. I mean, you go to Cuba. I mean, not everybody's poor in Cuba. They have like a Target per se. It's the best example, or a Walmart type of store, but things are very highly priced because people don't get paid. What I think they get paid, was it 25 bucks a month or something like that? US is the average wage in Cuba. So, and then of course you're only allowed 20 liters a month for gas. So that's why a lot of people have bikes and stuff like that, or scooters, and don't have the cars. But if you are an elite, of course, driving your Mercedes Benz and stuff, you'll be able to get your vehicle filled if there's gas. But um we're in those times of devastation and change. But it's through the droughts, we're through the middle part. It's like, when if you go back to the Old Testament, and Moses parts the ocean, and they cross and they get to the other side, and then they're like, oh well, what are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? So of course they get the manna and stuff like that. They get the water, they get everything, and they get fed, but it's not good enough. We have no debt, but holy hell, it's hard to stay debt free. I don't know how people are doing it right now if they have debt. Oh, God, yeah. God, I mean, right now for mortgages and everything else, yeah, get your mortgage fixed. Don't go on a variable rate right now. Things are just going to get too crazy. It's too volatile with everything and how things are going to unfold in the markets and stuff. There's a proxy or whatever, trying to prop everything up so it doesn't fall. So the markets aren't. They don't want the markets to fall right now. So they do have it like, they are propping everything up, right? Aries, ours is due July 1st. Yeah, I'm good to go without. Thankfully for my upbringing. Yeah, and the thing is, it's with the volatility and everything that's unfolding. And the thing when you and the other part too is like, as about housing, or buying a house in Canada, is basically is that you never really own your house, right? You never really own it. And you don't like, it's sort of very much like, it's a socialist thing for you to have to renew every 5 years. It should be, you get your mortgage for 30 years, you get your mortgage for 30 years, and that's the way it used to be. You get your mortgage for 20 years, it's 20-year mortgage, right? And this is what you pay for the next 20 years. But that's not the way it is anymore. But things like, yes, energy, volatile, definitely. Are things going to get crazier in the Middle East? Absolutely. We just found out, and our prime minister didn't even tell us about, um, our one of our facilities over there in Kuwait was attacked, was bombed, and our some of our soldiers were killed. Well, security and stuff. Fuck you. Like, it's March. It's what? It's March 13th, and you didn't want to tell us. So there's a lot of things, and I think it's because, one, I don't think they give a shit. And that's the other part that people are going to start realizing, is that there's a lot that's going out there that they really don't give a shit on what's going on or what's happening. And Mark Carney is coming from the imperialists, and coming from that, world order era, where the WEF and stuff like that. And We have, right now there's a president who doesn't give a fuck, right? About any of them. So it is going to be a little bit of a shit show, but that's where, you have to come in with your grounding, which is important, Mercury goes retro, Mercury goes direct next week, and Aries season begins next week. We have spring on the 20th, and the energy is going to shift very quickly. And this is where the confidence that you say, I'm doing the spiritual work, I'm paying attention to my patterns, I'm surrendering to the process. And the world that feels like a cray right now, that kind of awareness is actually a superpower. Knowing that it is crazy, knowing that it is nutty. Media didn't say anything till now. Well done, Canada. Yes. And was it Canadian Defense had to reach out to the media to get the word out about the Antarctic and the snow frost. Yeah. It's and here, what did Mark Carney do? How many billions of dollars just went up north? We're building a defense, and that's why we gave some odd $1 billion to Inuit, so that we can fix the north. Like, yeah, okay, you go fix the north, buddy. You didn't need them to fix the north. You don't need. Yes, they are one of the higher points, but I mean, all those billions of dollars in that one area, like it's quite, when you look at the map, it's quite spread out, per se. um and wanting to build a defense up there, up north. So that I find very interesting, that all of a sudden that's where he's wanting to build for defense. I don't know. um we have, what is it, we have 15,000 bases available in our armed forces. 15,000, not 1,500, not 15,000. Like, you just think about that. That's like, what? That's how bad our forces are right now, which is really sad, right? Mark's response to Canadians on the war. I'm not only a spokesperson for Canada, sir. You're the prime minister. I know. It's yeah. By the 15th, if there is a martial law called, I can see that happening by April 15th. I think Leo King said it. Um, and who else said it? Oh, she's the sidereal astrologer Joni. She said the same thing. And so did he's an Aries. And he was saying it. A couple others, like, who are sort of Pele. I think Pele was talking about it too in one of his Pele reports as well. Because those guys, there's a few astrologers that are out there that really talk about the truth about astrology, and how the energies are unfolding, and the changes that are coming forth. Mark said they're basically going to ignore that Canadian lost lives. Yeah, that tells you how respectful our government is to those who have lost their lives. So who wants to join? Because his money, he's more interested in what's going on in India, because we have how many Indian families that go to India every year. So let's give how much billions, $100 billion of um our retirement fund, our old age pension, old age security, to India, because so many of them are coming from India. Like, okay, fuck, yeah, let's just make us no comment. This is one of the reasons why. Oh, I'm gonna have to go off of Instagram because my phone just died. Boop. That's okay. But so I'm just here on YouTube. So Where are you? Help. Ah, there we go. Oh, sorry, you guys got to see my boobs. Sorry. Probably wasn't a pleasant sight. Yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. But that's the energy that's coming down, right? That's the changes that are coming forth. Um we have a government that doesn't care. We have a government that doesn't care about anybody but their own selves. And all good, you're washing your apples, and which is sad. And this is why you go back to why Alberta wants what Alberta wants, because the thing is that you're being ignored. You're not you're not, you're not being heard. You're not being welcomed, right? And the only concern is to line others' pockets in your own pocket and not the pocket of Canadians. Where if you look at it, Canada could be one of the most prosperous countries. And that's the thing, is that you look at these countries, even Venezuela, you look at these countries on, how prosperous they could be, even Iran, how prosperous they could be. But you get governments that are very greedy and very self-centered and don't give a damn. And when your country or your government starts not giving a damn about its people, that's where you start seeing things are going to start getting crazy. People are going to start getting angry and begin to revolt. And whatever that revolt is going to look like, right? So for this weekend, I'm going to come in with a weekend report definitely for you all. Next Friday, I do have a spring equinox workbook if anybody's interested. Um, and for my group that is in my container group, we're going to be getting together next Friday um, for a spring equinox celebration and gathering. So if anybody else who'd like to join us for that, it's $20, and you'll get the workbook included in that $20. But you can come and join me next Friday evening at 7 p.m. And we're going to do some work with this energy that's coming in for the spring equinox next Friday. So if anybody wants to join, who's not already part of the container group, definitely let me know and you can join me next Friday. I think that's all I got to say. Believe it or not, I think that was a lot. It was a lot. But stay grounded, right now. Don't let this energy, it can really throw you off, right? And look at what you're noticing right now, right? So take a look at what you're noticing and what's shifting right now for you. And that, you know that things are going crazy. Well, that is your superpower. That is that power that's coming in. Um, so we have Mercury's going to be going direct. We have the Aries season coming. We have the new moon that's coming next week. So there is forward momentum in all of this. So we're kind of like the chrysalis that is just almost there, but not. So stay in your spiritual lane. Stay with that beautiful energy that is you. Know that we will get through this, and that know that we are here. We were asked to be here. We chose to be here. We signed up to be here, to be those beautiful anchors of this spiritual journey that is unfolding for all of us. So there you go. There's my 2 bits in it all. Gonna send you guys out so much love. So may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all you say and all you be. Let me know if you want to join me next week. And we'll talk to you later. Oh, 8th house Aries. Death and rising. Death and resurrection. It is Pluto's house that you are going into. Come to the Scorpio world. What the fuck was I thinking exactly? Have a great one, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.